Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Deepak Dalal, and today I am going to speak on healing food and killing food. This is my small introduction, and my special interest is in a healing transformation with a plant-based diet and yogic practices. I am indebted to new diet system created by Shri Balubhai Chauhan, and he is doing this phenomenal work, and I am following so many things taught by him in my own practice, and I have witnessed reversal, and that is the basis of today's lecture. Healing food and a killing food. There are two events in everybody's life: fasting and feasting. Remember, fasting is healing, and feasting depends on a type of feasting. It may be healing or killing, and healing depends on so many factors, and one of them is the purity of food, and I am going to discuss about this particular aspect of healing of food. Now, this is not the topic of the day, fasting, but we must touch this topic because it is equally important. It is mentioned in our ancient healing system called Ayurveda, Langanam Param Aushadam. The fasting is the best therapy. Fasting is a natural healer. When you are sick, body remains in a fasting state by instinct. Even animal doesn't take anything. Human being is a different one. When surgical emergency is there, kneel by mouth is a rule. And before, during, and after surgery, till the body heals naturally, normal peristalsis return, we don't feed. And when the feeding is started, we start with a simple water, then juices, clear soups, liquids, khichdi diet, thin khichdi. And this particular diet heals and rejuvenates. And this is given before regular food is instituted. And on this particular aspect, there is a Nobel Prize of 2016 by Osume on autophagy, intermittent fasting. And he demonstrated the effect of 8 hours feasting and 16 hours fasting on metabolic non-communicable diseases and cancer. Taking this work further, Jason Fung, who is a nephrologist, he has written a book on a fasting, intermittent fasting, and he has demonstrated reversal of diabetes and coronary vascular disease. So food can be healing and a killing. So the live food and a dead food. What is the difference between a live food and a dead food? Plant-based unprocessed food, unheated food is a live food because it can grow when it is planted in the earth and it can reproduce. So it is a live food, healing food. It is easy to digest, absorb, assimilate, and rejuvenate. Against that, killing food, plant-based heated food, and animal-based cooked food. Animal-based plain or animal-based cooked food, because it cannot grow and it cannot reproduce. So the healing food is used for survival, physiological, normal wear and tear, mental survival, growth and reproduction. And when you use killing food, it leads to disharmony, disorder, disease, disaster, and ultimately death of an organ, temporary or permanent, and the death. So food has to be defined in terms of its purity. And for a purity, we have to go back to Adimano and our ancient Sanskruti. Man started his journey from jungle, then shifted to the cave, and he was consuming uncooked food before fire was invented. So mankind was using raw plant and raw animal food without cooking, and it has survived for more than 5 lakhs years. So when you need to do the same thing, plant-based uncooked food for 5 months, you can't do. Is it too much? So we will see. So this is Adi Manav, and this is a progression of human race, and we are traveling back 5 to 6 lakhs years by practicing this plant-based raw food. So do you realize sudden change from feasting culture to fasting culture? It is a bungee jump in time from 300 years of industrial culture to 6 lakh years of cave culture, 5 to 6 lakhs. So the food is divided in two divisions as per the source, plant-based and animal-based. Plant-based means leaves, vegetables, fruits, roots, seeds, nuts, pulses, and cereals. And animal-based means milk and milk products, eggs, birds, animals, seafood, white meat, red meat, and organ meat. And what is the characteristic of plant-based? Plant has a cell wall made up of cellulose and fibers. It has no cholesterol, and it has easily digestible carbs, protein, and fats. All essential amino acids are there in a plant-based food. So you do not require any animal-based food for supplementation of first-class proteins. An animal-based food has a cell membrane made up of cholesterol. It has no fibers, and the animal-based food are full of cholesterol, and even milk is full of cholesterol. Milk is non-veg. Now, our current teaching method, and what are the lacunas? Our current teaching method takes into consideration calories, protein, carbs, and fats of given food, healthy and unhealthy fats in terms of PUFA, MUFA, trans fatty acids, carb count, different types of carb, simple carb, complex carb, glycemic load and index, fibers, macro and micronutrients, trace elements, vitamins, minerals, and recommended dietary allowance. All these have indirect connection with the disease, but it has no direct connection with the disease. And current diet doesn't take concern of source of food, animal-based or a plant-based, liveliness of a food, live food or a dead food that we have seen, cooking methods, healthy and unhealthy cooking methods, the difference between home and industrial food, the toxicity index of aging of a food, and this aging or age index or exogenous age index of food, a food is not included in recommended dietary allowance and in food guidelines. So this is the background from which we are starting. So we will start with a question. Are you familiar with the calorie, carb, protein, fat concept of a food? Answer yes or no. Then are you aware of a relation between above parameters and obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, cancer? Yes and no. Then are you aware of advanced glycated end product index of food? Are you aware of that? And what is your message? If you are aware, of food age index, what is your message in terms of making food healthy, happy, and to come back from disease process to the normal process? So we are going to give answer to these 4 questions at the end of the lecture in terms of doing. Mind my words, in terms of doing. So is there any direct evidence between a food toxicity index and its correlation with the disease? that is insulin resistant. These are all non-communicable disease currently prevalent in society, progressively increasing in last 300 years, but maximum in last 60 to 70 years. And they are insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, obesity, prediabetes and diabetes, atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, giving rise to heart attack and paralysis, before and after damage, kidney failure early and late, and cancer state pre and post. Is there any direct correlation between food, age, and these diseases? So, to prove my point, I want to say that there are 3 Nobel Prizes. In 1943, Dr. Kempner's diabetes prevention program in US and in India, based on a diet, DASH and Mediterranean diet, Neil Bernard and Dean Ornish Sharan, and new diet system in India, Jason Funk's data on fasting, naturopathy and vegan groups, and active Indian groups, NDA, Sharan and FFT. These people have proven reversal of diabetes, heart attack and cancer with their work. So in 1931, Otto Warburg was given Nobel Prize for relation of oxidation, exercise, cancer. In 1998, Farid Murad, Nobel Prize on nitric oxide and its relation to the raw plant-based food. And 2016, Osumi on fasting and autophagy. So my data is based on this and live experience and practice of Dean Ornish, Dr. Neil Bernard, then Dr. Chauhan, then Freedom from Diabetes and the Sharan group. And Dean Ornish has demonstrated reversal of diabetes, and Dr. Campbell in China study has proven relation between the diet and reversal of the cancer. So we are facing a question that, are you aware of any food toxicity parameter that correlates with these diseases? Are you aware of food advanced glycated end products and which are called exogenous age and body fluid and tissue ages called endogenous ages? If you know, do you use them in real clinical practice? So, are you aware that exogenous food ages present in the food and endogenous body ages produced in the body can be measured accurately? Food ages and the body ages have a direct connection, and when increased food ages are given, endogenous food ages increase and they give rise to activation of reactive oxidase species, increase in the chronic inflammation and inflammatory markers, giving rise to increased pro-atherosclerotic and coagulative state, progressive and sudden reduction in blood supply of the organ, and progressive and permanent organ failure. So this is demonstrated that how ages are formed. Reducing sugars, amino acid, initially give rise to reversible Schiff base, then amidori reaction, and ultimately giving rise to ages, which can be measured by carboxymethyl lysine, and pentosidine. And when these ages increase, they give rise to reactive oxygen species, immune cell giving rise to inflammation, giving rise to increased inflammatory marker called NF-TK beta, TNF alpha, HIF1 alpha, cytokines and chemokines. And these lead ultimately to the progressive inflammation, atherosclerosis, and reduction in a circulation and a damage. So Are you aware that plant-based, minimally processed, healthy cooked food with low advanced glycated end product index can reduce and reverse partially or totally reactive oxygen species, reduce chronic inflammation and its marker, reduce atherosclerosis and procoagulative stage, reduce progression of reduction in blood supply and permanent and reduction in permanent damage to organ failure. So this is a graphic representation of how chronic inflammation affects gut, central nervous system, endothelial cell, and each and every organ of the body. So the plant-based, minimally processed, healthy cooked food with low age index can reduce insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, obesity, prediabetes, diabetes, ACVD, kidney failure, and cancer. And this is a demonstration that in cancer, CML index is high and there is a circulating age which represents damage because of the cancer in terms of CML. So let us take this unknown journey for which there is a mind-boggling work for last 30 years. So advanced glycated end products of food and advanced glycated end products of body fluid and tissue and its relation to disease. This work is basically done by James Uribari for more than 30 years. 115 or more peer-reviewed articles, randomized controlled trials published in reputed journals, and guidelines tested and proven in clinical trials. So this is a book written by him, published in October 2017. These are the randomized controlled trials on the basis of which I am going to present the data. So what is the age? Now we are going to see what is the age. So food should be pure for sure. If you are so particular about impurity in petrol and impurity in terms of cholesterol, then are you aware of toxicity index of food? So the measure of weight is kilogram, measure of volume is liter, measure of diabetes is sugar and glycohemoglobin. Then the measure of food toxicity is CML. So what is CML? Each and every food item has a native basic raw CML, which is natural, normal, physiological. But when it is exposed to heat and when it is undergoing further heating by then heating with the chemicals, heating with the fat, these advanced glycated end products become more complicated and increasing in number. And that is measured by one chemical, which is sturdy chemical called carboxymethyl lysine or a CML. So the CML is produced by a combination of protein, carbohydrate, and fat. And CML give rise ultimately is dependent on carb, protein, and fat content, temperature of cooking, presence of fat, and presence of chemicals. So these are the different food items, and in the 100-gram carrots, the index is 10. In McDonald's burger, it is 7,800. 100-gram bacon is 91,000. Raw chicken is 800. And bacon is 91,000. Poached chicken 1,000. And the fried chicken 8,000. 8 times more. And smoking and alcohol increases the age. So the ages are of two types, plant-based and animal-based. So plant-based are minimum in uncooked, fresh, raw food. And these ages are simple and they have less potential for all above diseases that we say. And the plant-based are dangerous ages because they are higher in number and complexity. Now the plant age is like a beating with a stick, and animal ages are like killing with the AK-47. So these are the different cooking processes, and going from mildness to the severity of the cooking process: boiled, steam, roasted, sauteed, stir fried, shallow fried, microwave, deep fried, grilled, boiled, deep fried, refried. So as frying temperature increases, CML increases. So boiling 1000 to frying 9700. Now we have two types of source: plant-based and animal-based. Now the banana, which we usually avoid in a diabetes, potato, right, is a very minimum age. Banana is a 9 age, potato 17, rice 17, corn 20, vegetables 23, bread 53, beans 116. Against that, milk 10, egg 43, fish 452, salmon, chicken, lamb, bacon, and cheese. Cheese is 1400 milk product. So basic CMLA is very high in a raw animal based. Now, what is the effect of cooking process on CML? If you take a boiled potato, 100 gram, CML is 17. Roasted, 218. Homemade French fry, 694. And McDonald's French fry, 1500, because of the cooking temperature, process, and chemicals. Now, just preserving increases CML. The raw fresh milk has 6.6, and the breast milk frozen, same milk, has 10. And when you microwave for 1 minute, the CML is 2, 2 minute 8, and 3 minute 34. Now these are the different food items, plant-based and animal-based, and you will see them in detail. That if you take a potato, there's a 17, roasted 218, homemade French fries 694, and McDonald's 1500. Against that, you take a peanut, home roasted 3400, and Kraft Market 8300. Rice boiled 17 and pressure cooker 218. Egg raw 43, boiled 63. Powdered egg 1000, and the omelette 2700. Our regular paneer 1453, and a Kraft cheese 16900. Bacon raw 1100, and bacon fried 91,000. Recommended dietary allowance is 15,000. So by taking 100 gram bacon once, you take 6 times more each in a given day. So this data is well worked by Uribari and published. You have seen this. So now these are the different papers, scientific work, that the single dose of a product with an advanced glycated end product immediately raises the tissue CML. And it creates trouble. Then with the type 2 diabetes and coronary heart disease, CML content increases. Then there is a direct correlation between high heat treated foods and the risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. So the diet based on high heat treated food promotes risk factor for diabetes and cardiovascular disease. At the same time, diet with more plant-based and less cooked reverses diabetes and heart attack. That is also proven. Dietary and advanced glycated end products and their role in health and disease. In this article, they have explained the correlation between the food age, body fluid age, body tissue age, and its ability to give rise to disease. Then, role of advanced glycated end products in cardiovascular disease, that is heart attack. Then, effect of cooking procedures on age formation, and they've demonstrated that the scrambled eggs prepared in an open pan over medium low heat had about half of the dietary edges prepared to the same thing heated, so at a high temperature. So the cooking method is very critical, and this is the only study where Indian foods are examined in terms of their CML index, and they have found that different cooking procedures where more heating and oil is involved, the CML has increased even in this study. So these are the commonly consumed foods. This is a full article of about 500 things, food articles, and here is a study in which consumption of diet low in advanced age products improves the insulin sensitivity in 4 weeks of therapy. Now we are coming to something very simple and doable. Herewith I am suggesting a simple recipe called masala roti. That is 1 part of wheat flour, 1 part of soya flour, 1 part of sprouts, and 1 part of vegetables. And this is a low carb, low fat, very tasty item which can be taken in the pocket wherever you go, whenever you want to eat. And there is another recipe called date chana laddu. It is a power packed protein and ready to eat carb item, and it is an equal part of roasted chana and dates, and they are just rolled together and uncooked without any cooking. Now we are coming to the last part. How will you do this in real life? So these are the commonly eaten items: tomato, cucumber, apple, orange, carrot, onion, palak, roasted chana, roasted peanuts, dates, sprouted chana, sprouted moong, and all the food items which you can eat raw. So consume them maximum with the breakfast, with the lunch, with the evening snack, with the dinner. So by default, take 4 small vatis of sprouts and 4 small vati of salads. So you improve your diet by 50% because it becomes a raw diet. And take rice and chapati 50% less. Suppose you are eating 4 chapati, have 2 chapati. So your carb count goes down by 50%. Increase your dal by double. So your protein count goes by double. Increase vegetables 2 times so that your fiber count improves. And amount of carb you take is less. So by this simple technique, eating more raw, you will improve your daily diet by more than 80 to 90%. And after eating this, if you have little junk here and there, it is good. Now coming to the last part, how you will include fasting and feasting together. So first I said about feasting, now about fasting. That's from sunset to sunrise, do not consume anything. And go to bed, sleep from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. for good 6 hours. Then 7 to 12, sunrise to noon, fruits, fruit juices, raw fruit juices, raw vegetable juices, and no carbs, no fats, no proteins. So you achieve at least 18 hours of fasting. From 12 to 3, you can have fruits, sprouts, and salads, and 3 to 6, 7 in the evening, regular light meal. Once you do this, you are sure to reverse your habits within a month, glycohemoglobin within 3 months, reversible complications in 6 months, and all other maladies within a year. So when People have survived for 5 to 6 lakh years on a raw, uncooked food and come to this. Why the hell we cannot reverse 300 years old industrial revolution given non-communicable disease, that is a insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, diabetes, heart attack, and cancer. Thank you.